Top 10 Quick Comic Picks. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our real quick show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are coming out this week. Coming out on Wednesday, so we give you a little bit better idea of what to expect when you go into your local comic book store, or if you head on over to infinityflux.net. You can check it out right now. All the books are live there, and you can go ahead and start placing your orders, get ahead of the game, and then you'll get them when they come out.
Yeah.
So don't miss out on that. But we got about 10 books to show you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to kick it off this time with Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures Wedding Special, which we are featuring because I did a few pages in this.
What?
Yeah, so this is really exciting. This one was a whole lot of fun. It's written by Daniel Jose Older, and it's kind of a celebration of a lot of the High Republic Adventures creators and characters and all of that. And I did about 3 pages in here that follow certain characters. It was really, really fun. And we want to let you know that it is out this week, and over on infinityflux.net, you can buy a signed copy by me. I'll be the one signing
Wow.
it.
I'm
No,
gonna sign a couple.
you can sign a
Yeah, I'll
couple
sign a
too.
couple
It's
for.
fine. But it's on there right now. Thank you everyone who is going to buy this and support it, because it was a lot of fun to do. A lot of fun action in here. And yeah, just a big old special one-shot issue.
Well, next we have a book that's almost as big as that. This is Absolute Batman #3. This issue picks up right where the last one left off, with a big chase right down the middle of Gotham in the big giant dump truck Batmobile, which is really fun. But we also get some cool stuff in this too. We get a little bit more of Bruce when he was young with his friends, including Selina. We get a little bit more of Bruce when he's older, and with his friends, getting more information about Black Mask and what he's up to. And Black Mask gives Batman a proposition that, hey, back off your crime fighting stuff and maybe I'll give you a ton of money. And that's a pretty tempting offer. Maybe Batman is going to accept that. So, yeah, just more goodness from the absolute Batman corner of the DC Universe.
Next up, I have a fantastic book. This is Challengers of the Unknown #1. This is super exciting. We were talking, if you told us years ago, oh, there's a really exciting issue of Challengers of the Unknown, be like, what? But no, this is so cool. So if you've been reading the DC All In stuff, you know the Challengers are a vital part of the new Justice League Watchtower. They're kind of the nervous system of the Watchtower. And after the death of Darkseid, they are now in charge of figuring out what is these weird ripples basically that happened throughout the galaxy when he died, and they're going to investigate them. Also teamed up with the Justice League, who are also going to be members of the Challengers for this. And some crazy stuff happens. This was fantastic, and if you enjoyed books like The Question and you're liking Justice League in the direction of the DC Universe right now, this is another kind of tendril that is building this pillar of the DC Universe, and you don't want to miss it with Challengers of the Unknown #1.
Well, I've got The New Gods #1, and this is another of the DC All In books. And this also deals with the death of Darkseid, but in a different way. This basically deals with, now that Darkseid is gone, what is going to fill the void that he left? Metron gets some information from the source wall that a child is going to be born on Earth, and it's going to change everything that we know. But is it going to be for the good or for the bad? That part is unknown. Highfather over on New Genesis, he doesn't want to take the risk of it being bad, so he tasks Orion with killing that child. Orion really doesn't want to do that, but he also doesn't want to disobey Highfather, so he asks Scott Free, Mr. Miracle, to find the child and hide it from him so that he can't find it. We do see the child in this, and it's really cool. This is a very big, grand epic that deals very heavily with the cosmic side of the DC Universe and the ramifications of Darkseid's death. So very awesome. Maybe my pick of the week. I absolutely love this.
Another really cool book this week from Marvel. This is TVA #1. So this is it's hard to describe how this takes place, but this is both within the Marvel comic universe and the cinematic universe, because we've got our Spider-Gwen that we know and love from the Spider-Gwen series and everything in the comics has joined up with the TVA from, this takes place post Loki season 2. So this is bridging the two worlds of the movies and TV and the comics, as some strange things have been happening, not just in one timeline, but throughout multiple ones. So a team of different characters from different realities are going to team up to try and investigate what is going on. There's some surprises in here. Plus, it's really cool to see the version of the TVA from the MCU and Loki. Even the big statue of Loki
Mm-hmm.
that's there. You've got the Mobius. You've
Yeah.
got all of those characters.
Mobius, OB, B-15, the key lime pies are in it. I mean,
Yes.
everything.
Yeah. So if you are a fan of the shows and the movies and the comics and everything, this feels pretty important. They even bring up
Mm-hmm.
the stuff with Miss Minutes that
Yep.
happened in the previous season where she kind of went bad. Just crazy that they're doing this, but it was awesome issue of TVA #1.
And it's also the first appearance of Clock Doc
Yeah.
and Sir Second. So two more little clock characters. All right, next up, we've got the Green Lantern Green Arrow World's Finest Special. This is so much fun. This is a one shot that, in the tradition of World's Finest, is set in the not too distant past with Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen on a road trip, like some hard traveling heroes, we could say. They meet up, or they run into Deathstroke, but it's the first time they've ever met Deathstroke. He is planned accordingly on how to take them down, and so they have to team up to fight Deathstroke and the League of Assassins. And there's a backup story where Hal Jordan and Barry Allen, the Flash, also have to team up to take on Deathstroke. This is a one shot. It's not connected to anything. You can read this free and clear. The artwork, the action is great. This is a really, really fun comic book, and I would love to see more.
Next up, I've got the question all along the Watchtower #2. So issue 1 of this, I loved. We both loved it. It's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Issue #2 continues to be so good as there has been an attack on the Watchtower of one of the challengers of the unknown, which is mentioned
Yep.
in that book, which shows how well these are tied together. But it's not like you have to read everything to understand what's going on. And there's some security footage that Renee Montoya, the question, uh, is able to see, and it looks like someone very close to her may be responsible for this attack. This leads to a whole craziness goes on the Watchtower. There's animals breaking out of a zoo. There is classic villains that show up, and you even see some really like minor tier DC characters and
Mm-hmm.
what they're up to now that they have the Watchtower. It's so much fun. Another great kind of building block of our DC universe right now. So don't miss on the question #2.
Next, we have G.I. Joe #2, and this picks up right where the last issue left off. G.I. Joe face to face with Cobra. G.I. Joe's trying to protect that Cybertronian shard that we saw in an issue of Transformers. Cobra's trying to get at it, and G.I. Joe is just outgunned,
Yeah.
outmanned, and they get their butts handed to them, and they go back to the pit, try to and kind of lick their wounds and figure out how in the world are we going to beat these guys. Meanwhile, Destro and Cobra Commander enact part two of their grand plan, but maybe there's going to be a little bit of a wrench thrown in the works that they don't see coming. So just another great issue of G.I. Joe. I honestly don't know how the Joes are going to beat Cobra at this point. That's going to be fun to see.
And lastly, for me, I've got Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger #1. This is a new series spotlighting the origin of Gunslinger Spawn. This takes place back in the Old West and is written by Jimmy Palmiotti, who had a fantastic run on Jonah Hex back in the day and has done other Western style stories since then. So this feels like a version of Red Dead Redemption,
Oh,
but within the Spawn universe, as you see what the demons during the Old West time kind of looked and acted like, and the birth of the gunslinger Spawn and how he's going to take care of them. This is a very mature book. It's very violent. It's very over the top, but it's really cool and fits the genre perfect. So I'd love to see more Western books, but that is Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger #1.
and last for me, we have the Rocketfellers #2. This is the perfect book for this time of year. This takes place on Christmas Eve. The Rocketfellers have been focusing so much on just maintaining the status quo, keeping up appearances. We're a regular family in the 21st century. Well, they didn't even realize that it's Christmas Eve and they need a Christmas tree. They do find one at a Christmas tree farm. But when the guy goes to cut it down, Ray freaks out. She's like, "Oh, there's I guess there's a law in the 25th century. You can't cut down trees." So instead, Roland creates their own tree, but maybe that works a little bit too well, and it causes madcap fun. There's also a looming threat in the background too that we see a little bit of, but mostly it's just a fun Christmas themed story, science family adventures. It's great.
Yeah, so much fun and full of holiday cheer.
Right.
But that is it for this week's top 10 list. Hopefully, you found something here that you are interested in, and you can head over to infinityflux.net right now where you can order them while supplies last. And that's the most important part because supplies will not last forever.
Mhm.
So, check it out right now. Get your orders in so you don't miss out on any of these awesome books. And until next time, see
See
ya.
ya.